Hello, everyone. Welcome again with me, Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams. I have a special guest that I'm excited to introduce to you all and share with you guys. His name is Bob Swartz. He came on to me through one of my mentors, Steve Krashenko of Cast Your Net Ministries. And we're going to be talking to Bob about his business, about advertising, marketing, and whatever else value bombs that he wants to share with us. So without further ado, Bob Swartz
Hey,
with
Miss Valerie. It's good to
how
be here
are
with you.
you? How
I'm
are
good,
you?
very good.
Good, good. So now you have an advertising business called Home Business Advertisers, and you've
Yes,
got a
ma'am.
couple of moving pieces in there. Tell us first about yourself, introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, how you got started, and
Okay.
we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so my name's Bob Schwartz. I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've got five crazy kids that keep me busy pretty much from 4 o'clock on. It's my dad time. Let's see. I'm married to a wonderful woman named Jennifer. Um, And we started Home Business Advertiser magazine when we found out that my wife was pregnant with my son Joshua. And to be honest with you, Valerie, I was making an income in network marketing, affiliate marketing back at that time. So that was 17 years ago.
Right.
And that business just seemed a little bit too shaky for me. So when I found out my wife was going to have a baby, I thought it was dad's time to step up and be a little bit more responsible. So I went out and I sent resumes out all over the place. I interviewed at 3 or 4 or 5 different marketing and advertising agencies. And whatever reason, they would either say I'm underqualified or overqualified. And the last interview I had was a guy named Steve Zuckerman at Clipper Magazine, and he owned like 600 different magazines. And I was applying to do advertising sales. And on the way out, he just said something to me like, "Hey Bob, why don't?" He's like, "You're a pretty talented guy." He's like, "Why don't you think about starting your own magazine?"
Wow.
And I went home and we prayed about it and talked about it. And the next month, we did our first issue of the magazine, and I really had no idea. We started the magazine with $300, and that first
Mhm.
issue we printed and mailed 15,000 copies to entrepreneurs all across the country. And praise God, like genuinely praise God, we were profitable from our very first issue. So God
Wow.
met our needs, and we met a bunch of really cool people. We met some not so cool people too. but but yeah, and the business has grown, and we're just we're happy with how things are going.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you only had like $300 because a
Yes.
lot of people, when they think about business, they think about when they're starting their own business, rather, that they have to have, a lot of capital that they have to put up front, a lot of funding that they're going to have to do. But you hear some of the success stories like Steve Jobs, Damon John with Fubu and how they started out in
Mm,
the garage. So tell us a little bit more about that. Like I heard you mention you prayed about it,
yeah.
it was kind of like that right place at the right time as far as who introduced you and said, you should try this. But talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, it's funny, when I went home, there was this road next to my house called Coffee Goss Road. And it's kind of like out in the country a little bit. There's like cornfields on both sides. And I went for a walk down this Coffee Goss Road. And I was scared that I wouldn't be able to provide for my family. And I was a little bit, I guess I admit, like I was scared and a little bit depressed because I didn't know necessarily like why I couldn't get a job, and I was praying, and I specifically remember asking God. I said, Lord, like if you want me to do this, just please give me a sign, whether it's like a word or somebody tells me something, or just give me a sign, Lord. And usually like I don't get answers right away. Like I'll wait years for answers sometimes. But this is true, Valerie. Like I'm walking down the street and I have goosebumps right now. Like all
Well,
these grasshoppers started, like, I'm not talking about 3 or 4 grasshoppers, but I'm talking about like 50 grasshoppers just started hopping all out of the cornfield, like into the road. And I'm not sure why that happened, but Well, I do believe it was God just be like, just take a leap of faith and go ahead and do this. So what I did was I took the $300 that I had and I got an order form, like an advertising order form, that talked about the rates of the magazine and how many people we were going to reach and things like that. And then I reached out to my friend Mariah, who does website design, and she was a friend of mine, and she was a volunteer firefighter, and she's like a fitness lady, but she also does websites. And she's like, I'll do a website for you for like $100. So I had the order form and the website, and I just started networking. Like I started like making calls and sending out emails to people that I knew were entrepreneurs and they were looking to like sponsor distributors and grow their business.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold the front cover first because I figured that was the most important thing to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sold the back cover. And then people would say, well, I want a special page. And then I sold like page 3, which is a right-hand page, page 5, page 7. And it was not easy, but like just one baby little step, like one day at a time,
Right.
1 hour at a time. I was like, what's the next right thing to do? And then, yeah, it just kind of happened, like just one little step at a time.
Right, right, right. So do you have like a lot of, I'm finding I've got a couple of mentors and a lot of them tell me that each one of them seem to have a secret to their success. Whether it's, they get up in the morning and they either work out or, prayer, or they're listening to some motivational mindset
Mhm.
type thing to really, keep them motivated, kind of keep their head in the right space and so
Mhm.
forth. Do you have a routine that you do that you can say has attributed to your success?
Yeah. About a couple years ago, I started listening to this guy, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure, I have another laptop just right behind me, and I'll put him on YouTube in the background and I'll just keep it down kind of soft, where if I'm in between phone calls or, um, like emails or something, it's just kind of like in the background.
Yeah.
And he's just such a smart guy. And I hear him do interviews, kind of like you do interviews. And I'll just listen to him interview people who are just smarter than I am and more talented than I am. And I just do pick up things like in the background, and then I'll share them with my wife like later at dinner time or whatever, just to help me remember and share with her, what's going on. But yeah, I do believe in routines. Like every morning I get up, my wife, I'm blessed to have a wife. She'll actually go upstairs and make me coffee. I'll make the bed, and we just lay down together for like maybe 10 minutes and do devotionals. And we
Excellent.
found this really cool devotional book. And then that helps start the day right. I do like to exercise. We found a place called Crunch Fitness where it's only like $15 a month just to go for 20 minutes, get a good workout, feel like I accomplished something,
Right.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much my routine. I always check my voicemail first because I figure that's the people that are trying to reach me the most. And then I'll check email. Or no, I'll do voicemail, then I check my text, then I check my email because I figure I can get back to people in that order. And it usually works out okay.
That's awesome. So you've been doing this for how long, the advertising and the marketing?
Yeah, so we started the magazine in between 2003 and 2004. I should nail down exactly when that was, but it was something in there. So it's about 17 years. And then we had the magazine doing really, really well until about 2007 or 2008. And then I remember like the stock market crash and people were scared and all this crazy stuff was happening. And we went from like a 100-page magazine down to like a 60-page magazine. So that's a 40% cut in our income.
Right. Right.
And I guess I'm not sure if fear is a place to get motivated from. And, it should be faith, but I was truthfully like a little scared. So I did work a little extra hard. And then just slowly things kind of got back to normal. I had a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah. But God was always faithful. Like there was a time where I couldn't work for like 8 weeks, and I don't know. I mean, we filled in the gaps and everything worked out. It really, really did.
Nice, nice. Now I hear you mentioning God and mentioning faith. Talk to us a little bit more about that, about your faith. How you came
Yeah.
in faith, how that's affected your business. You
Okay.
mentioned about how you prayed, to the Lord, and as to whether you should do what this gentleman had suggested to you, and so forth. And talk a little bit more about that, because you also mentioned about the grasshoppers. So, what did those grasshoppers mean for you when you saw those grasshoppers?
Yeah, it was a goosebump moment. Like I mean, I haven't thought about that in a couple of years. So I mean, just talking to you now, it's like, oh my gosh, that was just a sign. It was just like, just go for it, Bob. Like God knew I love nature and animals, and that was his way to speak to me. I guess he has a way to speak to each of us differently,
Right.
because we're all different children. But I grew up in a house that didn't have faith, and I mean, they believed in God, but they would celebrate Buddha and Christ and all these things. And I was a little bit lost, like before I found God. Like I used to smoke pot and do drugs and all kinds of stuff back when I was 27. I'm 49 now. And then around the same time Josh was born, so that was again back in 2003, 2004. I just felt like I would always take we would go to like Christmas and Easter service at church. And I kind of looked at church service as like a motivational course, like Brian Tracy or Zig Ziglar, because they would
Yeah.
like, you go in, get a little motivation, come out and be like, yeah, I feel a little bit better. But this Easter was really important because this guy, Pastor Michael Moriarty, was standing up front, and he was like a big guy, he's like a bodybuilder. And I had a lot of respect for him. He had 3 girls, I think. And he said something like, if you're tired of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulder, and you've got anxiety and you're stressed and you don't know what to do with it, he goes, I just want to ask you to invite Jesus Christ into your life and into your heart and make him the Lord of your life. And it's not just you have to decide right now, make a commitment, but it's going to be every day, like choosing to follow him. And he just said, everybody in the audience, just close your eyes and raise your hand. And I raised my hand. And that's how I say I got saved, initially by learning. Like I always heard about Jesus Christ, but I didn't know, I didn't know who he was, that he was God, And so, yeah, that's how I got saved. And it's amazing, like you and so many other friends, like I've gotten to know, like these are Christian people. We are trying to help each other, but we're still trying to grow our business too. And it's not
Absolutely.
easy sometimes. Like, how can I help you, but also how can I help myself at the same time, and vice versa? Do you know what I mean? So there is some negotiation going back and forth. But I do feel like if we do trust in him and just always tell the truth, even though we slip sometimes, just tell the truth and do the next right thing, he meets our needs and then blesses us like, more than we can imagine.
Right, right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how have you found balance with your faith and business?
Yeah. Well, this is something that Jordan Peterson talks about in the background. I think I'm going to blank out, but he says there's 5. There's like your God, your spiritual life, your family life, your health, your friends, and your business. So I think a lot of times, because I love my business so much, and I do love working with people, I do love building things.
Mhm.
Even though I can't fix my car, I can build a business, But yeah, I just figured, well, I'll just work on each one of those 5 things. Like me and my kids, like we'll have we call it buddy time. And I've got
Okay.
5 kids. So I might take my one daughter, Ella, who's 6 years old. We might just go down and get an ice cream cone, and then Rebecca, she likes to walk around the mall a little bit and go to Claire's and buy $5 earrings. You know what I mean? And then, you
Yeah.
know, Jonah likes to go bike riding. So we'll take like a little bit of time. And I think that balances out your life. Like if you can have buddy time with each special person in your life, even if it's 20 minutes or 15
Mm.
minutes a week, let's go for a ride. Like Hannah, like we just go for like a 10-minute ride around the block. And it's amazing what kids will tell you, So we're trying to, lead by example and trying to do the right thing. We get frustrated sometimes because kids are crazy. They drive us crazy, but you love them, and I don't know what else to say. Keep drinking coffee.
There you go. Can't have enough caffeine, right?
No.
So
Oh my gosh.
what have you learned in your marketing and advertising? I'm pulling on you and so excited to have you apart from, that marketing and advertising perspective. In business, if we don't have prospects, clients, if we can't advertise and have leads coming into our business, prospects and clients, we basically have no business. We kind of have a hobby, sort of to speak. So what
Mhm.
would you say in your tenure of, your marketing and advertising business that you have learned, or what are some things that you could recommend for our business owners, entrepreneurs, for some fresh new ways for marketing and advertising?
Yeah, this one I feel really strongly about is I met a guy named Phil Longnecker, and what he taught me was that you have to build your list. A lot of times I think like if you meet someone for the first time, that doesn't mean like you're best friends and you're going to do business forever and ever. But so I keep a database, and it's really simple. Most people would probably laugh at it. It's just an Excel spreadsheet, and I have their first name, their last name, their address, their phone number, and then like what we talked about. And sometimes if they're like, hey, keep my credit card on file for, advertising or leads or whatever. And now this is the discouraging part. Like if you're just getting started, is that it took a long time. Like I've got about 1,400 contacts in my personal contact database.
Okay.
And you can maybe only put 2, 3, 4 people in there a week. So it takes a long time. But then after I have those people, I do send email messages. I'll keep in contact with them. Like, you can email them, you can send postcards to them. I'm fortunate enough, and I feel kind of embarrassed to admit this, but the truth is, like, I send them the magazine every month.
Mhm.
So they just get a little reminder like, oh yeah, Bobby Schwartz,
Right,
that's
right,
that guy in Lancaster. So, and I know not everybody has that, but you can start wherever you're at, and communication. But I think the one major thing that helped me so much that I did learn from that guy Phil was that you have to build your list and keep in communication with your list through however you can do that. Through
right,
like you keep in contact with your followers and your people and your prospects and your friends and your business associates through these meetings that you do. And I think that's
right.
phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
They know what you're thinking and what you're doing, and they're tracking with you. I think that's incredible.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, which is a perfect segue because the platform that I use is called TW3. Big shout out to my other mentor, Terry Wilson 3, who is the founder of the platform that my business sits on. And, the platform offers what we call a CRM, a customer relation management system, which does exactly what you're talking about, because it engages your list, it manages your list, it engages your list so that they are always kind of in that loop as to what's going on with the opportunity that you have. And
Yeah.
so, perfect,
So
absolutely.
how does that work? Like, how is it through emails or text or direct mail?
We have email, we have text, we have what we call a bulk texter and a bulk emailer. We have a voice dialer, kind of a broadcast that you can do so that you're not manually doing it. It's almost like automated is how the setup is. Now I see you. You're not frozen on me, Bob. Now I see your head moving. But
Oh,
we
I'm
can talk.
sorry.
That's
Was
okay.
I
But
was I
but we
frozen
can
the whole time?
yeah, yeah. But that we can talk about that offline. But what you're talking about is what we have called the, customer relation manager. But we offer, it's a business in a box. It offers everything from lead generation, and we offer multiple strategies for lead generation. We offer that customer relation management. So it really is for the entrepreneur, the business owner. If you're looking for a business opportunity, you can kind of take this platform and tailor it and brand it to yourself and sell that particular platform. So we kind of have two audiences, that the entrepreneur business owner slash the person who's looking for that biz op. So, but yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I would like to talk more about that with you offline.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk more about that. What else I want to ask? I just want to pick your brain. So give us some value bombs, Bob. give us some value bombs that you have learned along the way in your journeys and doing
Yeah.
business with folks. One of the things, I just did a video on business ethics and just kind of the fruits of the spirit of business.
Nice. I like that. So peace, patience, joy, kindness, self-control. Yeah.
Yes, integrity,
Yeah.
follow through, which is a big part of what you mentioned with communication. And if we have a CRM, a customer relations management, that will assist us with follow through.
Right.
But you talk to us about anything that you want to share or that you would like our listeners,
Yes.
audience to know.
Well, I agree with you. Like the two rules that I've learned was that exposure is everything and the fortune is in the follow-up, and that's where the whole building the list really comes into play. Where we expose our business to the best possible way we can. We try to help people as best. If we put their interests before ours, we'll get everything that we want. You know what I mean? So it's like if I truly try to help a customer, and maybe that means not advertising in the magazine or not buying leads because they're just not in a place to do that.
Right.
Sometimes I do have to bite the bullet and say, you know what, this might not be for you right now, but I would love to work with you in the future. Do you know what I mean? So I think there is something magical about the golden rule where it's like if I truly, and I can't do this all the time, I would like to try, but if I can truly help you more than I'm taking care of myself, things do have a way of really, really working out, because then that person will, they'll know you, they'll like you, they'll trust you, because people, you can feel it, you can hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Just exposure is everything and the fortune's in the follow-up.
That is so good, that golden rule. Because one of the things, and I know you've experienced this based upon what you just said, but with where we are in our businesses, we can kind of pick and choose who we're actually working with. So
Mm,
it's kind of on both sides of the fence. I mean, you're dealing with that prospect, and yes, you may, want the sale, or need that funding to help, put
mhm,
bread on, food on the table and pay the bills to keep the business going. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you really have to see, okay, is this really a match? Is this person ready at this particular juncture to take full advantage of the opportunity and the services that you have? And do you want to work with them? So
mhm,
I think when you're on the other side as the prospect and the client, you really don't think about that, okay, it's just not about you, it's on the other side. Because, even though, you're offering the service in the business, that person can also say, well, I don't know if you're ready for this right now. Maybe the timing is just not right, or, for whatever reason, maybe you have too much on your plate and
mhm,
maybe things need to kind of calm down. So I think prospects and clients don't really think about that
mhm.
side of the fence, you know.
Agreed.
So I know I am learning that as I speak to prospects a lot, and I'm kind of like, and I
Right.
kind of have a little test when I'm working with my prospects, like I've kind of put them through a qualifying little circle to see,
Mhm,
okay, let me see if they're really going to do what they said they're going to do. Can they follow some basic instruction? And if
mhm.
they can't, will they say to me, will they articulate, I couldn't do this or follow through with what you said because of XYZ? So there's little tests I give my prospects along the way to say, okay, let me see if they really are ready
Yeah, I like
for the
that.
opportunity. So what do you do? Are there any things that you do to just kind of read your prospect to see if the match is a fit, timing wise, and all of that?
Yeah. I would say that, just talking to them, asking lots of questions and listening to what they're saying, I think you do almost like instinctively have an idea in your mind of like, how could I help this person? Um, and I heard that, I forget who told me this one time, but it said, like once a month or once every other month, it might be good to like fire one of your clients. Like if you have a really bad, difficult client who's like maybe putting you down or not treating you with respect. Because like on our refrigerator upstairs, it tells the kids, respect yourself and respect others. That's like household rules, and I think the same is true in business. Like if I get a client now, as a merchant, my job is to serve that client. But if that client is treating me poorly, or give them a chance, give them a second chance, but then eventually you have to say, you know what, like I've tried to help you, but it just doesn't seem like we're a good fit for each other. And at first it's kind of scary because you don't want to lose business, but it's so interesting and freeing when you do let someone go like that, even if it's a big client, that all that tension and that bad kind of that yucky feeling goes away. And you're like, wow, I'm free.
Right.
I'm not living under that guy anymore,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say fire somebody once in a while.
That is good.
Yeah.
And I love what the golden rule when you mentioned about, just when you are able to be honest with your prospect and your client, and
Yes.
how that can again bring more fruit, actually bring more
Mm.
fruit, because then it develops that trust factor, because they're like, hey, they were really honest with me. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so that really does foster relationship as well, that trust factor, and bears more fruit. So I love how you mentioned that within your golden rule analogy there. That was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really causes you to reflect and really think like, a
Yeah.
Selah moment.
Yes. Yes. Hey, I just thought of something else. And it's neat how I don't know what the right words is. I think they're like collateral blessings, but like so say this. So I publish a magazine called Home Business Advertiser,
Mhm.
and it's a print magazine. It's also a digital magazine. So a few months ago, maybe a year ago, I started doing these like, and I don't know a lot about technology. I was forced to have to learn some little tricks, but I found a software called Screen-O-Matic or something like this. And
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll put the magazine up on the screen, and I'll just flip through the magazine, and I'll explain, what this guy's business is a little bit about, and what this lady's business is a little bit about, and my relationship with that person. And then I'll email that little link, with an explanation of what the magazine is all about. And it's all about them. It's all about the advertisers. It's all about helping the readers, find that match between here's a person looking for a business and here's one that's offering one, and bam, you know what I mean? And then we'll email that out to my list. We have about 14,000 online subscribers. And what's amazing is the advertisers get helped. And the first time or second time I did this, I had no idea, Valerie, that people would respond so positively because I was trying to help someone else. People saw that and they're like, I want you to help me. And my business grew, because they saw me helping other people and they're like, I want that. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And
yeah.
you probably have that in your business all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just like my mouth is watering. I'm like, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Because
right.
that is truly how I try to use my platform. I was blessed through the founder of TW3, Terry Wilson, to be given this platform where within my business I have my own podcast. And,
Mm-hmm.
had I not, just like you with that opportunity, I had been doing some entrepreneurial stuff on the side in addition to having my full-time job. And so I really got to learn the entrepreneurship world and figure out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, learn the jargon about landing pages and
Yes.
capture pages and lead generation, list building, CRMs, customer relation management, and the list goes on. So when the opportunity was presented from TW3, I just instinctively knew. And not only that, Bob, I was in prayer like you. I was in prayer and I was crying out to God and saying, okay, God, and I was crying out to him in regards to resources, because I really believe heavily in additional income streams. And I was crying out to the Lord about additional resources. And then I kid you not, within a week, the Terry
Nice.
free opportunity manifested itself. And I was like, ah, and I jumped on it. And so I just everything that I have been blessed with to have to be given a platform through the Terry Wilson 3 system. That's it's one of the reasons why I interview people, have you on, and try to use my platform to give somebody else a platform to talk about, themselves and how they got into the business and so forth. And it's that whole giving and, helping
Mhm.
somebody. And then in turn, you're also helped as well. So
Mhm.
again, going back to bearing more fruit.
Yes. And that's something that, like my natural instinct, like, we're talking about my business. One of my neighbor's kids is at the door. We're talking about business. My natural instinct after doing this interview is I want to share the interview with people that I know and say, hey guys, guess what? I got a really cool interview with this lady named Valerie Williams, and she's talented and she's smart, and listen to her. She's like, she knows what she's doing. She's heading in the right direction. So I send a link out to this podcast. I don't know exactly how to do that,
Yeah,
but you
we'll
could give
talk.
me a link and I'll
Yeah, we'll
send that
talk.
out to my, yeah. And it's like, wow, I get the privilege of interviewing. Yeah, it's reciprocal. You're
Right.
helping me and I'm helping you, and kumbaya. you know?
Absolutely.
So
And it's so key because, after coming out of COVID and, now, doors are opening, people are, wanting to get outside and take vacations and whatever, we still, I've never seen, I think, within business, such more of this emphasis of fostering relationship and
mm,
how can we help one another in business, since the COVID,
yeah,
because now,
absolutely.
one of the things that the Lord said to me was collaboration. I'm going to be doing a lot of collaborations. Now, I was involved in ministry along with work. I'm in the healthcare industry, been in healthcare for over 20 plus years, and is doing my entrepreneurship at the same time, was involved in ministry. And the Lord made me resign from that ministry back in right before the COVID hit. I was supposed to be actually heading toward to Europe and going to Switzerland and London and doing a trip there with the ministry. And the Lord was like, "You're not going." And this was before COVID broke out. Was right on the cusp.
Wow.
And He said, "You're going to resign from the ministry." And I'm like, effective immediately. And I'm just like, okay. Normally you give people notice and da 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 da. And he was
Yeah,
like, and I really had to step out on a limb and obey. And this was before the Terry Wilson 3 platform manifested itself. And to
nice.
make a long story short, had I not done that, I don't even know if I would be sitting even here talking to you, Bob. So it's like these sacrifices. I say that to say what the sacrifices that we have to make um, for our business, but in a way where we're having
Mhm.
integrity and bearing that much more fruit, like what's on the
Mhm.
other side. And again, that fostering relationship and the new relationships and the new collaborations. Because
Exactly.
after I did that, and the Lord was just like, you're going to be doing some collaborations. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what it meant. But I share that again as just that fostering relationship and that helping one another that you mentioned. And how when you help one another, again, it's that kumbaya. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're leading by example. Like, I would love to learn how you do what you do, because like I would love to interview my advertisers like this and give them a platform and an opportunity to tell me about who they are and what their secrets are. Um, yeah, I think that would add tremendous value.
Yeah.
Just like you're doing right now, Valerie. I think you're doing just an incredible job, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, it was through one of my, like I said, I mentioned one of my mentors, Steve Krashenko, Cast Your Net. And he's got, he's had so many businesses. He's a seven-figure earner. He's built businesses, sold businesses, and now his love is to teach people and help people build their own businesses and be successful. And
Mhm.
so that's how I met you. And it was like, oh my goodness. then I
Yeah,
talked to you and was picking your brain, and I'm like, I would love to get him on and talk with him and just learn, just learn, because it's always, we're never too old to learn,
right. Yeah.
We really got to, humble ourselves in the midst of our businesses and be willing to be able to learn from others to make ourselves grow all the more.
Amen. Selah. Selah.
So, talk to us more about Home Business Advertiser, because you mentioned the magazine, and what else does Home Business Advertiser offer? You mentioned the magazine, and when you say magazine, talk to us more about that. What does that look like?
Sure. We have a direct mail magazine called Home Business Advertiser. It's about 60 pages right now. It does have a print element where 6 times a year we'll mail out to 25,000 prospects, entrepreneurs who are looking for a home-based business opportunity. And then in addition to that, we have between 10 and 14,000 folks who read the magazine online. So it's some really good exposure. It's not very expensive. We have ads to fit almost any budget. I mean, from $85 ads for a 2-inch ad to a quarter-page ad, half-page ad, and a full-page ad is $795. But that's one thing I learned, is always to start small. Like, advertisers trust me if I tell them, hey, don't buy a full-page ad for $795. Buy a half-page ad for $495, but run it for 2 consecutive issues, because you'll get more mileage out of your marketing dollars. You know what I mean? And that'll help you build the list. Instead of just concentrating on sales, concentrate on building your list with prospects, getting to know people. So that helps. We've had some creative people come up with the ideas like, you know what, Bob? No, I do have a little bit of a budget. I want to take the full page ad, but I want to run 2 quarter-page ads, for the same, or 4 quarter-page ads throughout the magazine for the same price. Like, that's interesting. I'm learning something from that. But then recently, I guess, during COVID, I guess it really was like our business needed to change a little bit. And I met a 23-year-old kid named Connor who knew ClickFunnels really well, ClickFunnels platforms.
Yes.
And he showed me like how to do this system where it's 3 leads a day, where we generate about 1,000 leads every day from people that are looking to work from home, whether they're looking for a job opportunity or business. And it's hard to separate those two without talking to them and communicating with them.
Right.
But that's 1,100 people a day. So what we did with that database is we split them up, and someone can subscribe to our service and get 3 leads a day. And we do have other packages too, like 5, 10, 15 leads a day, but get 3 leads a day. And what we're trying to do is teach leaders how to show their people, if they follow up with 3 leads a day, just a quick text message, you can do this in 5 minutes a day, and you will have to run through the numbers. Like, we have some really big leaders in Y Ambassadors, in Melaleuca, and some other companies.
Yeah.
And out of 100 leads, they'll only expect to get 1 or 2 signups. And that's what success means to them. Now, if you're contacting a prospect that says, yeah, I do want to work from home, I am looking for a business, we want to help them manage their expectations, because a lot of times folks will say, well, geez, I called 10 people and they didn't get back to me. And I'm like, okay, so what? And that's when you kind of learn where they're at in their business experience and say, okay, this person's just getting started. Don't humiliate them, but try to teach them in a nice way that, well, you're going to have to call 100 people to have 6 conversations and 1 new sign up. If that's okay with you, you should keep on this thing for a year. If not, you should stop and do something else. And something else could be like, we have another product called Clicks, where we'll take those 1,100 leads, and we can redirect that traffic to your lead capture page or your landing page to generate leads and traffic into your autoresponders and into your funnel instead of the leads. The problem is it's a little bit more expensive. So instead of spending 45 cents for a lead, you're going to spend $1 a click, and your landing page might only convert 20%. So if you have to spend $5 to generate 1 lead, okay, yes, it's a specific lead. They're going into your autoresponders, they're contacting you, but what is better? And it's like, not what's better for Bob, what's better for you? Like, would you rather text and email people, or would you rather have them come to you, stick within your budget, but plan out a budget for a year, not 1 month,
Right.
So
Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
about all that. I really went off
No,
on
that's perfect. No,
it.
this is what this is what the interview is for. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example to kind of piggyback on what you said, Bob. Just in regards to, the 100 people, 100 people, and you may talk to six, and then maybe get one sale out of that. One of the things with the Terry Wilson 3 platform, I love how you talked about just the options on whether when you're building your list and what is better for, kind of getting an idea from the person on the other end, where they're at, their experience, what's better for them to call their list, text them, or to have that those people call them directly. And with the Terry Wilson 3 platform, now the way our platform is built, we have our different marketing strategies as well, but we have a thing called WP Forms, which is in our back office, and we've got the funnel that's behind it. And so when we're directing our clients on the different marketing strategies to pull their leads, they're coming automatically in to our WP Forms, which captures their name, gets their phone number, captures their email address, their IP address, the time, and then it captures them after they have gone through our whole funnel process and so forth. It captures their information, and they're actually calling you. So they call
I
you
like that.
based on that,
Exactly.
which is a lot easier because then you know that, okay, this is somebody who's gone through my funnel. There's been some, a qualifying process because they came through the funnel. They had to look at some of our information. And as a matter of fact, we also have what we give them like a survey that they've got to fill out and like an apply page form. So by the time they hit our WP Forms, they've gone through the surveys, they've gone through the funnels, which is kind of our qualifying process. They've watched a couple of maybe introductory videos, maybe 2 videos that are like 15 minutes a piece. So once they hit us and with their email and their address, we know those are qualified leads. We know they're
Mhm.
warm. They're not cold because they went through a process. So when they're calling us, they're just like, okay, tell me more. And then we can that's kind of our angle with the Terry 3 Wilson platform.
Let me ask you this, and I want to push into you a little bit,
Sure.
is so so if you had to manage expectations for people that are doing the Terry Wilson system, what they might come in with expectations that are too high.
Absolutely.
How do you manage their expectations? Say, no, wait a minute, I want you to get the full picture. Like, is there anything that you would want a new user to know so that they stuck with it for a year instead
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
month?
Excellent question. And I'm happy to have the tables turned. I love this. Yes. We're always dealing with expectation. That's a Selah right there, dealing
Yeah.
with expectation. I think I might do a little training on that. I love when I'm talking with my folks that I'm interviewing, I always get brainstormed with a training that I can go back and do.
Amen. Amen. I like that. Yeah.
But to answer your question, yes, because every day we're dealing with expectation, and you know that just as much. Any entrepreneur, any business owner, that is a part of what we have to deal with, is dealing with expectation. And I think sometimes we don't realize we're dealing with expectation. We get so focused on our product, our service, and that we forget about that, but that really is a part of the core of the fostering relationship and managing that expectation. We have to have that as a part of, okay, I've got a prospect. I know that I need to foster a relationship and I've got to manage expectation. We need to get that, kind of have that on in our mind as we're talking with our prospects and even with our clients. But
Mhm.
how we manage it with Terry Wilson 3 is when we bring in our clients, we're with them through the whole journey, Bob. I mean, the minute they come on, we're helping them get set up. We are on the phones with them if we have to. We are doing a Zoom call with them. We are with them every step of the way.
Good.
And we've really fostered a family atmosphere with Terry Wilson 3 platform, and the fact that there's multiple business owners, very successful business owners, 6 and 7 figure earners, We've got some folks that, have used it as a business opportunity and they've branded themselves around the Terry Wilson 3 platform. And so we really foster a family attitude where we can come and glean. Scripture talks about know those who we labor with. And so you get that opportunity to see who you're laboring with. You get to, hear from the founder of this Terry Wilson 3 platform. You get to lay eyes on him, hear him, like we do a podcast every Monday. Then we have another group that meets on Wednesdays. There's constant and different avenues to foster that relationship with our prospects and clients, and we're with them every step of the way of the journey. So
Very
they're
nice.
so when they have the platform, they actually are assigned to a coach, trainer, consultant who, so say for example, you were to come on to the Terry Wilson 3 platform, Bob, you would have access to me as, a trainer, a coach, a consultant to help you take the Terry Wilson 3 platform and use it for your home business advertiser. Now, we offer multiple things. We offer a podcast like what I'm doing right now, where you can use, the platform, work it around your business, take the tools that you need that you can plug into home advertiser like a podcast. We give you a website. We give you lead generation tools. We give you an online store. You have
Mhm.
access to the founder. And we do a podcast, a company-wide training on Mondays, every Monday for like about an hour. So different ways that we keep clients and prospects engaged and foster
Very
that.
good. Very good.
Yeah. So but that's really good dealing with expectations. And I think if, like you said earlier, if we're honest up front with them, and give them that opportunity as much as possible to ask questions. And if we don't understand, to be able to navigate the both of you to make sure that you're understanding. Because a lot of times we don't even realize we have expectations because we're not always articulating it, but in the back of our head, we have an expectation.
Right.
you know
Right.
and so we're not articulating it, and so we really need to pull on one another to get us to articulate, okay, I know you have one. Now let's talk about what that expectation is and navigate through it.
Right. And yeah, work on what reality really is. And I had a friend named Randy Allen, and he would say something to me that made the expectation that he would call it the big boy talk. He's like, "Do you want to have a big boy talk?" And I'm like, "Okay." Like, here we go. Am I going to get a beating right now?
The big boy talk.
Yeah. And I guess you can do a big girl talk too, but it's like, okay. And he would just say, "Hey, I want you to raise the bar a little bit," you
Mm,
know, and things like that. So, and then my wife and I, when we have challenges in our marriage, we talk about, "Hey, can I push in you a little bit about something?" And it's like, okay, just don't push too hard, But it's neat to have, that communication. It's like I can push into you to make me a better person. Let me push into you just a little bit to see if I can help make you a better person or not. So yeah, I think expectations are huge because that will keep your clients happier and more grounded in the long run, because I think we are all trying to help each other and advise each other. We're, like you said, we're all learning and all growing all the time. So I agree. I agree.
yeah. I think that's one of the things too there's a lot that I love about my platform, but with the Terry Wilson 3 is that because the founder has just a plethora of experience through, he was in insurance and had an agency for so many years, and just with his experience, just life experience as well, day-to-day activity in business, he's fostering relationship, managing expectations. And so with the system, you're getting a mentor. You really
Mhm.
are getting that. I said to him, you have like an apostolic anointing, like just thinking about it, I tear up. But
Mm.
apostolic covering with the Terry Wilson 3 platform. You feel that sense of safety. Bob coming right in out of the gate. He's a man of faith as well, which I'm sure has a great part of it, a man of faith. He was an, ordained minister and, wears that hat as well. But he's really fostering relationship, managing expectation, cultivating, family, and having those quote meaningful conversations and having them up front and why it's so important. And so, um, he really does come in with that apostolic. So you feel that headship. You feel like, hey, I can go to Papa and say, hey, I need to pick your brain, or I'm struggling with this in business. What am I doing wrong? Or, and voice,
Mhm.
even if you feel frustrated and not having a day, like we had our little company-wide meeting on Wednesday, and I was very quiet. Normally when I'm quiet, it's like, uh-oh, something's cooking with Valerie. She's very quiet.
Yeah.
But I was wrestling with my flesh and saying, okay, putting that flesh down and just saying, okay, I need to switch it up and just not talk and just kind of listen, take things in, and then I voiced something, and he said, don't you know what the good book says, Valerie? Don't grow weary in well doing. And what does the rest say?
Yeah, and
and
you'll reap a harvest. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, and he's just that personality that, you hear him and immediately you are just put at ease and you just snap out of it. You're like,
Mhm.
okay, okay, I'm good
Yeah.
now. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is great to have mentors like that, and not just one, but like what is it, a multiple of counselors. The only
Yes.
thing I've ever had a problem with, and I've had that out with a couple of ministers myself, is that I never want to put anything between me and Jesus Christ. So it's like, I know what you're saying about that father covering, and maybe because I'm a father, like I'm very, very careful about my counselors. Like I'd rather have them at my shoulders than over me. And I think that's different about me. But I've had pastors that do try to insert themselves as if they're, I don't know, not replacing the Holy Spirit, but almost,
Yeah.
like I have a better relationship with Daddy than you do. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like we all like have that like he loves you. He dances over your head. You know what I mean? Like I know he loves you. He loves you. He loves you. And he loves me too. So I'm just very cautious about that. But yeah, and I'm sorry. I just felt like I was supposed to say that.
No, you are, it's free. And I think that's why we have the Holy Spirit, and we have that discernment. We walk
Yes.
we walk with discernment, because right away. And it's again going back to knowing those who we labor with. And if you have to, that gut feeling, you will call it, people like to say that gut feeling, that check,
Mhm.
call it what you want, that vice, but when it's like, there's something there, but I can't put my finger on it, or there's
Yeah.
just this instant connection, like with you and I, it was kind of, there was an ease,
Hmm.
we just kind of conversed, asked questions back and forth, and but for me, there was an ease, and
Hmm.
like I said, you came recommended, and but still in talking to you, it was like, okay, there was an ease,
Yeah.
so you really have that check, and you just go with, you're a man or woman of faith, you know what you're leaning on. And if you are
Right.
not a man or woman of faith, you've got that check or that gut, and
Yeah.
you go, you follow that, you just follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. When I say apostolic and that headship,
Yeah.
it's the balance. It really is balance. We've all had our good experiences. We've all had our bad experiences. And, as a man or woman of faith, you know what the barometer is. And
Yeah. That's a good word. Very good word.
so, yeah, yeah. Well, that is going to do it for our time. Bob, I'm so glad that you were able to come and join me today here at Dimensional Talent Streams. I do want to mention, for however you are listening, watching, that Dimensional Talent Streams can be heard every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on tw3radio.com. And for additional what's happenings and what's Dimensional Talent Streams doing, you can also find us on any social media platform, YouTube, like, subscribe to the content, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth. So thank you all for joining us. Bob, don't go, stay on if you have time. I'm gonna stop the recording, but stay on for me for a second. Bob,
Thank you, Bob.
how can people find you? Email, telephone number, name of your business. Give your little plug real quickly if people have questions for you.
Yeah, I would just say if you're interested in seeing a free copy of the magazine, go to homebusinessadvertiser.com. That's just the word advertiser, then R at the end. So homebusinessadvertiser.com. Our phone number's listed there, and feel free to call me or just get a free copy of the magazine.
Excellent, excellent. Bob, thank you so much. You are such a gem. You are such a gift in the business arena.
You're sweet. Thank you so much. You are too.
I can't say just enough about you and just my journey. You have set me at ease, and I've wrestled through some things, and you have set me at ease, and so I just thank you. So that is going to do it for us today, everyone. I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Have a great day. And I'm going to just